Vitalik Buterin suggests new way to decentralize Ethereum staking. Andrew Throuvalas last updated, March 27, 2024, 12:29 EDT 2-minute read. Ethereum staking has a looming centralization problem, but the network's company founder Vitalik Buterin proposed a new way to address the issue on Tuesday. In a blog post, Buterin suggested modifying the penalty system for Ethereum validators by increasing the cost of colluded misbehavior, penalizing centralized Ethereum staking. Specifically, the method would impose large penalties on validators who misbehave, even accidentally, if a large share of separately staked ETH misbehaves simultaneously. The theory is that if you are a single large actor, any mistakes that you make would be more likely to be replicated across all identities that you control, even if you split your coins up among many nominally separate accounts, he wrote. In September 2022, Ethereum switched to a proof-of-stake consensus mechanism, which lets users earn a yield on their ETH by locking their coins within the protocol. It also places control of block validation and transaction processing in the hands of those who hold the most ETH. That includes centralized exchanges and staking providers like Lido, Coinbase, and Binance, which offer services pooling smaller investors' ETH together to stake on their behalf. Even asset managers like Fidelity are looking to use some of users' assets for staking purposes. This has raised community concerns around potential collusion among large Ethereum validators to launch a hostile takeover of the network, especially if compelled by the government. JP Morgan, for example, noted in October that the merge in Shanghai upgrades have made Ethereum more centralized. Buterin's war on large Ethereum validators. While large Ethereum validators already face greater slashing penalties, explicit cuts to a validator's stake, compared to smaller stakers, Vitalik said penalties around such an uncommon event aren't enough to move the needle on centralization. This post proposes to extend a similar sort of anti-correlation incentive to more mundane failures, such as missing an attestation, that nearly all validators make at least occasionally, he explained. Theoretically, such a system could create economic disincentives around centralized staking and help reduce economies of scale in the industry. Last week, Buterin also proposed a rainbow staking system, which would create new classes of Ethereum stakers based on their goals. The system would reduce the economic and technical burden of independent staking that asks everything of everyone, which has driven ETH investors to stake with centralized services instead. We have become very dependent on social pressure plus virtue, he said regarding centralized staking providers earlier this month. If it is inevitable, we should be clear about whether we rely on incentives or social pressure plus virtue, rather than excessively rely on the latter. Follow us on Google News.